let's go back to those wonderful years of the Carter administration.
And while we were there, I wrote a little poem about the works. And some of you guys, I'm sure Linda will pick up on most of it, but some of you guys might not really grab what the meaning of what I'm saying. But I'll take a stab at it and see if I can remember all of it. Well, it was springtime down in Texas, and the boys were gathering round at a little place west of the Pecos they call Alpine Town, because the wagon on the 06 for spring work was about to roll. And you can bet I'll never forget the stories I'll be told. Ramon de Costanero, he'll keep the boys all fed on beef and beans, home fries and greens, and Dutch oven homemade bread. Well, we kicked off at the 06 Flats and worked a day or two. Then we pulled on down to Willow Springs with Joel and all the crew. 2 days there, Brandon. Cattle working fine. We kicked them out and we rolled our beds and we pulled to number 9. Now the cattle up on 9, they seldom see a man. And it is no joke, when those yearlings broke, I saw the best hands on the line. Old Apache roped a wild one and he took it to the ground. Sam and Rod and Mike and Arb got the rest all turned around. Well, it was a little westy, cattle running wild. But after about a mile or two, they were all broke to drive. And late that day at branding, Joel walked up to me. He said, "Climb to your seat, shake out a loot and eat, and drag some calves to me." Now, I'm not much a cowboy. I don't even claim the name. But there are some men of the Big Bend who can put them all to shame. Now, I'd been watching these old boys and some things I'd began to see. So I forked that steed, and with Godspeed, I managed 2 or 3. The next day, we rode the wagon down to headquarters camp, washed off the dust, rolled out our beds, and loosened up our cramps. Then we trailed the whole remuda up to number 5, to the brush and the rocks, the canyons deep, and cattle running wild. Now, I've been told some stories, some pretty good ones from my pa. But my heart skipped a beat and I couldn't sleep when I heard about that Arkansas. But Chris had picked a handful of men he knew quite well. And I'll bet all that's mine against a thin dime, those Arkansas cattle caught hell. Now, there are things that I'll remember as long as I'm alive. Like the morning we rode the wagon down from number 5. Coyotes were howling, the sun was about to rise. When I looked back on that old line shack, pulling out of 5. We pushed on to the Webster. The sun was burning down. It got a little tense that day. We had a few wrecks around. But when it was all over, we had pinned a few. So we scorched their hide with the 06 mark and cut out the yearlings too. Now Gary, he had to leave us when we hit Cienega. We understood why he had to go. There was trouble up in New Mexico. Well, now the roundup, it's all over, and Ramon, he's about to roll. Another story has been told about dust and rocks and horses and men and cattle that are hard to hold. And the boys will all be drifting, their own songs they will sing. But in another year, it's adios, my dear, for the roundup in the spring.